Hello everyone, my name is Roya and this is another monthly recommendations video. So monthly recommendations was created by Trina from Between Chapters and Kayla from Kayla Rain, so I will leave a link to the group down below if you want to check it out. Anyway, this month's topic is family relationships. So a couple of books came to mind immediately as soon as I saw that this was the topic. The first book that came to mind is The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls, and this is a memoir, a true story of Jeanette Walls' story growing up, and she grew up with some very neglectful parents whose priorities as parents were just really not there. For instance, the mom has an opportunity to get a job, but she just doesn't take it because she just doesn't want to, even though her kids are literally starving. Stuff like that, her parents just do, like, all the time, and so their four kids just kind of, I don't know, are like a second priority almost, and that's not really how parents should do things, but it's kind of weird. So then basically, it already says this at the beginning of the book and everything, so it's not really a spoiler, but once the kids all grow up and are out of the house, the parents actually move to where the kids are in New York City and decide to just become homeless just because they don't really want to do anything. It puts a lot of things in perspective. It puts family in perspective. It puts homelessness in perspective, and it's just really interesting. And the fact that it's a true story just makes it a million times better than if it was fiction. It's really weird. I've read this at least twice. I really, really enjoyed this book, but I once gave it to my mother for Christmas and she couldn't even finish it just because it's about parents with like bad priorities, basically. The next book that immediately came to mind for this topic is one that I don't have with me, and that is The Beginning and the End by Naguib Mahfouz. I guess the 50s or 60s or 70s or something like that in Egypt, and it's about a family that is pretty well off, but they're not super wealthy. Their money all just, like, they're really well off, but it just comes from like their father's salary, basically. So one day their father dies and the family is suddenly poor when they were actually doing really well before. So basically, all four of the kids have to make livings some other way. So like the daughter becomes a dressmaker when she used to make dresses for fun, but now that she has to do it, she hates it. The oldest son becomes a drug lord, and then basically the younger two sons, one of them goes off to a different city and gets a job to put his little brother through college, but then once the little brother goes through college, he just becomes like really prideful and all this stuff and just takes it all for granted. So it's just a really interesting book about a really weird family who you're not even sure if you like or not, and it's a really great story, and also its own voices, which is really great. I feel like I should introduce some kind of either own voices or otherwise diverse book into every single monthly recommendations and or top 5 Wednesday or anything that I do. Anyway, the next book that I want to recommend for family relationships is Angel Fall by Susan E. And this is a really interesting book in terms of family because the main character, Penryn, not only spends the entire series trying to rescue her sister from the angels, but she also has a crazy mother who is just not all there anymore and just thinks that everything is not what it is and all kinds of craziness. So basically, Penryn sometimes still is caught between like defending her mother or doing something else that also seems like the right thing. And also just all the stuff that she goes through for her sister is pretty amazing. She like really, even she never just gives her sister up for dead ever, even though it's pretty obvious that something is just gonna happen to her anyway, no matter what she does. The final recommendation I have for you today is Just Juliet by Charlotte Regan, and this is about a girl named Lena who falls in love with a girl named Juliet, and basically Juliet has a really interesting family because she has a very accepting dad, and she has a cousin who is also gay, and her cousin was not accepted in his own family for being gay, and neither was her cousin's boyfriend, so he basically is at their house all the time too. So she basically has this family full of gay relatives and like their significant others. And so it's really interesting how close the main character Lena gets to Juliet's whole family and learns about all of their stories pretty much, because and her father isn't just accepting just because he's cool like that. He's accepting because he has his own story about a friend of his. So anyway, those are my recommendations for family-related stories. Let me know what your favorite family relationship in any book is, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye!